Oh man. So anyway, y'all ready to roll?
Yeah.
Late ill
Yeah.
kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bring that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today all year, coming with another wonderful episode of Beast Vibes Life. We are chilling. We got three of the Horsemen. One of them are off right now doing this thing. Shouts to PL Parker Lewiz. We'll give him a shout out in a second. But we are here to talk about the first two episodes of Hip Hop Uncovered docu-series on FX. Before we get going, in the bottom square, you know him, you love him, Academy Award winning ARCKATRON.
Oh, I'm in the hey, what's going on, y'all? It's ARCKATRON. You can find me at ARCKATRON.com. You can find all things that are good there. All right?
Yeah. And
I see you out
there. Over right here beside me, you know him, you love him. Winter Olympics gold medalist and Summer Olympics gold medalist, Anwar HighSign.
Yo, HighSign, check me out or don't. It's your choice. Peace.
So, last but not least, shout out to PL Parker Lewiz. Y'all can check his links down below. You know him as Long Beach Hove. You know him as Trap Just Blaze. You know him as the Black Kanye. To get
He is one with the people.
Yeah.
He is one with the people.
Yep. You know what I'm saying? Don't sleep. So, I wanna see if I could. Let me ask you guys this. How would you describe Hip Hop Uncovered?
I thought it was, sort of an expose. What are those things called? When you tell the story of a figure, I forget what they're called, but it's a docuseries following a couple of key figures that straddle the line between hip hop music industry and street.
What up? You, Arcka?
Yeah, I guess like a docu-series on like the behind the scenes, the people that like you may have heard the name and mentioned, but not like really know fully what they've done behind the scenes for hip hop, for the artists and the people that they were around in like 4 decades of hip hop, or 5 decades now.
Yeah.
Like, so it's interesting to see like a deep dive from their perspective, and also from people who know them's perspective too.
Now, FX says our OGs learned to hustle, hoping to make a life better for their families. The lessons they learned provide them unique business acumen that will one day serve them in the music business. What I call it is high class snitching. All right, all these dudes. No, I'm just playing. They
were top rope with that one.
No, I was just playing. This is a very well done documentary, and I was wondering when I first saw it, because I was like, okay, it's a docuseries. I saw it on Hulu. I was like, it's a docuseries. FX is doing it. We've seen a number of hip hop documentaries as of late in the last, say, like 2 years or so, and I was like, well, what kind of angle are they going to do? Because I mean, we've seen a good amount of like either kind of like tour movies or straight up documentaries, whether on like a specific group, like the Tribe documentary or the Wu documentary, or documentaries about like ancillary people, sort of like the one on Rick Rubin and stuff like that. So we've seen looks into hip hop, and then you have the documentary on Netflix. Oh man!
You mean the producer one?
They did one on Organized Noise, and then they have one that's like in hip hop in general. And I cannot.
The producer one, the hip hop.
Yeah. Oh man, You guys in the chat will let me know. And I forgot, it's like the art of music or something. I don't know, something like that. But anyway, so we've seen a good amount. And I'm like, man, like, do we really need
Hip-hop
another one? Like,
evolution.
what are y'all gonna do?
Hip-hop evolution.
Oh, Hip Hop Evolution. Yeah, thank you. And I'm like, what y'all gonna do, man? Another documentary. I mean, Hip Hop Evolution is already kind of killing it. I mean, come on, FX and Hulu. I mean, come on. I like it. I like this a lot. It gets into the kind of timeline of what was going on with the people during this time through these figures, how they were living, what was going on in their lives, what was going on in their surroundings, their homes, their schools, and stuff like that, in the streets and their gangs, their respective gangs and stuff like that. It really helped set the tone of how people were living at that time. And I really like this. It's, kind of, I guess I'd say from my standpoint, it's sort of focusing in on maybe the kingmakers that we didn't know in hip hop, maybe kind of like that. I've heard a couple of people's names, like Haitian Jack. I've heard of him, and I've heard of Trick before, but I've never heard of Bimmy. I've never heard of I believe the lady's name is Deb.
Yeah. All right.
So there's some people I've
That
never.
was like arguably the most known of them.
Yeah, and see, I've never heard her name before.
Yeah.
So this was extremely well done and eye-opening for me, because I mean, you always know there's kingmakers in the background, but you rarely see them talk. Usually they're in the background just getting their money and moving on with their lives. So seeing them chronicle kind of coming from, say, like the 70s into the 80s, stuff like that, what was going on with politics, what was going on in street culture, what was going on in music, and how all of that kind of came together. I love that. So I love this. Now, speaking on the Horsemen that's not here, PL says, quote, and I quote, "I loved it. Well told, well put together. Can't wait to see more. It's the side of hip hop we never see, told from the folks that all the rap people want to be." And he didn't use the word people, but anyway, but yeah, I really.
He said homies, right?
What's up?
He said homies, right? That's the word
he said
used.
homies. So, I guess I'll get into one thing that I really enjoyed was how we started to talk about the kind of imposing nature that we get from the politics side. Like they got into, because when they started talking about, like this area of like late 70s, early 80s, I was like, yeah, like people were poor and people came back from a war, and they even showed a clip of a guy that said he had to get high because that was the only way he could go out, in combat when he was in Vietnam and not be scared. And it fully illustrates kind of like the people that were coming back into a country, with a society that was not pleased with the war that they fought. And then, of course, coming into like Reaganomics, and we see Reagan placed there, and we see like Deb, Trick, and all these people like, yo, look, this was a time when, this music was bubbling up, but this energy was bubbling up around it. And I just thought it was really cool to display that. Is there anyone you guys want to get into first? Because all of these people kind of have like different, but sort of intertwining stories, because they're all approximately the same age, because they all kind of came up in the same era. But there's like, because I actually like Haitian Jack's story, but whoever y'all want to start with, because we got like 3 people that we can talk about. 4? I think it's 4.
Deb, Haitian Jack, Demi, and Big U.
Big U,
actually.
So
and
5.
Trickster, it's actually 5.
And Trickster.
It's
So 5. Yeah, sorry, 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, if y'all don't mind, I'll start with Haitian Jack. I thought that was
Haitian Jack's very interesting.
yeah, especially when he talked about, like coming over, like, being in Haiti, coming over, and from his perspective, he was like, yo, I thought we were coming for like a vacation. He was like, I thought we were coming to chill for a second.
It was a staycation. It was a staycation.
Oh, it was showing up for staycation.
This is it.
He was like, he said when we came over, there was like all this coconut stuff. And I was like, at first I didn't get what he was talking about. I was like, coconut, I don't get it. And I was like, oh, I get it. It's an immigrant thing. I get it. And he talked about how like Haitians came over and it was like all this rhetoric, like, oh, coconut, this and that. He said, but when the Jamaicans came over, like they was not playing no games. Like I guess it was like that. I guess it was like that Busta Rhymes energy. They was like, ah. And it was like, we ain't playing much. It was like, they came over and it was like, nah, son, we ain't having that. And I like how he talks about living in an area where it's like, like we generally, people ain't got no money. And he's like looking at these people, of course, people on the street, they're getting money in a quicker way. And, you see a dude, he's changing his Pumas 2-3 times a day. And like, he's getting beat up, he's getting, bullied here and there. And the easy turnaround is, kind of like turn into what we would consider a life of crime. And a lot of these people, a lot of these different subjects illustrate a similar thing. And it kind of goes back to that statement of like, when you put someone in a certain situation or a demographic of people in a certain situation, like, was it Big U that was talking about when you put people with someone where they have no hope? It was like, they take risk. And, it was like, if you have hope, like if you're, I think Big U said this. He was like,
I forgot who said that.
Yeah, I think it was Big U, maybe. But he was like, if you're a kid that's going to Harvard, you got hope. You ain't got no reason to rob the liquor store. You know what I'm saying? You got hope.
Oh, and I think it was one of the writers or the other guy, the guy with the beard. You know what I'm talking about? Dark-skinned dude with the beard. That was actually like he was because there was other people talking, it wasn't just them five.
I can't remember who it was. But so, I mean, you have Haitian Jack, and he doesn't really have any hope. He's getting jumped on every time he turns around. And the weird thing is, he finally gets a hold of a gun, you know what I'm saying, through sort of like, I guess you could say like an not accomplice, like an acquaintance on the street, gets a gun. He says, dude shoots him, and when he comes out, he goes to meet him again. He's like, look, we gonna have any problems? He's not like, nah, man, you good, you got this. I'm like, yo, that is a different time. Like even though he had to go to the gun to get it to stop, that's still a different time for him to be like, nah, man, you good, we cool. Like that's a very different time that he talks about being in. And then kind of like the street culture that he was around that helped influence that and influence the music. And how I think it was Bimmy that said, yeah, man, you did a whole lot of stuff for me, and I did a lot of stuff for you. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, that stuff is mad vague, bro.
I mean, I was about to ask the question, is like statute of limitations and stuff like that. Like, I guess we're past all this now. Everything's legalized, everything's legal, what they're doing now, right? Like, I would assume that, because like, then it would be literally just dry snitching or whatever on your snout or whatever. So I'm pretty sure like they're past all those times.
Yeah, all these guys are legit now.
What you say?
Oh, what you say, Anwar?
So yeah, all these guys are legit now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because we're also talking about things that are probably like 25 to 30 years old now, maybe older. So like they good. You know what I'm saying? They're like, you ain't gonna do nothing. But like Haitian Jack's story was very interesting as someone who like came over and was just kind of like getting jumped on all the time and really wasn't, as opposed to other people that were like, yo, I was in the gang from jump. Like we was fighting all the time. We was like all we did. And so I thought that was interesting how he tied that into or how that was part of his story that he helped kind of like share, because he could have came from a from a standpoint of like starting his story at having the gun. You know what I'm saying? He could have been on something like, yo, man, I had me a gun and I shot a dude. You know what I'm saying? He was, I guess, kind of like we talked about vulnerability before, where he was able to be like, well, nah, when I first came over and I was little, you know what I'm saying? And people beat me up all the time. And, you know, he kind of walked through that, how he became, but then he also told that story about his dad's car got stolen. He said his dad called him the king of the thieves. And I was like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But he did get his dad's car back.
If you guys haven't watched it yet, he says that, you know, after he was in the street for a while, started knowing the different people in the street, dad's car gets stolen. He says, I'm gonna go ask around. I'm gonna put some feelers out and see what's going on. And he rounded up all of the thieves and whatnot and jackers in the neighborhood. And they all know him as a shooter at this point. Yeah. And he said, yo, my dad's car got stolen. Pop's car is gone. I'm not even going to trip. Just return it. And we'll let bygones be bygones. And the car was in front of his home the next morning. His dad,
he told his dad.
Dad goes out and sees the car and says, yo, he's the king of the thieves.
Yeah, that's definitely off rep. You know what I mean? Like reputation.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You gotta like you know, and especially if he gave you like an in like, all right, you can return it and you good. Yeah, I don't even know who did it. He
said, if it's not back
by tomorrow
morning,
then he's gonna.
I'm gonna start shooting every one of you.
Every carjacker, he knows he's gonna shoot every carjacker.
I'm gonna shoot every one of you, one at a time. I'm gonna shoot y'all.
He said it in a very calm voice. And shouts to Jenna James up in the chat. What up? What up? He said it very, very calmly. He was like, "Look, I was known to put multiple holes in people. He's like, not just one. He's like, I'll clear out a whole corner." And I was like, "Yo, this dude is not to be trifled with. If he says have it back by the morning, and you wake up and it's sitting in front of the house," he said, "Won't no rims missing, no nothing." Oh, man, wow. To make a guarantee, to your pops, like, don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow morning. Like, to guarantee that, yeah, you know, Haitian Jack has a flow. Probably still do, but I mean, at that time, to be like, just put it back. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want no excuse. Just put it back. And that joint was back. You know, and these are the kind of guys, like they said at the end of episode 2, that were like, yo, let's take this money and invest it in music. You know, let's put it through. And so, you know, and it kind of helps also illustrate how, since the culture, all of this stuff is kind of like coming up at the same time. You got kind of like sports, basketball culture, the politics, the music, you know, people that's rapping, all this stuff, kind of like sneaker culture, all that stuff kind of like piling on and coming in at the same time. You know, that's why, at least I think, or kind of like make the jump to thinking, why you see saw a lot of these guys in record companies and stuff like that, because it's like, well, these guys also have fingers on the pulse of what's going on in, you know, DC, New York, I don't know, Atlanta, Detroit, Houston, wherever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we can't go there. Or even if we do go there, we don't know what we're looking for. We don't know who's good, who's not. We don't know, you know what I'm saying? But these people do. And also when these people speak, people listen. Like, you know, if I'm sure, like they said with Trick, like, dude, they have a video, a video dude was like, yo, Rick Ross trying to come perform, and we was like, nah. And we ain't gonna it's like, what? But what you gonna do? So, I mean, you know, I think that's why a lot of these guys ended up, you know, or in like consultation kind of areas for a lot of these companies, because people listen and they know what's going on in their area as far as like the sound, the music, whatever. So I thought that was cool. And I really enjoyed the, especially since I remember being like extremely little, but I remember that whole, because they showed Ronald Reagan, his little, I'm asking for your nomination for the Republican Party. And I was like, oh, I was like, they got to talk about that coat. And then I love how they showed the Senate subcommittee with John Kerry years later, where they were like,
Lurch.
all right, well.
Lurch. John Kerry.
They were like, well, you know, we
Kerry,
did it.
Yeah.
Like, well, you know, we did it. I guess sorry. But I like how they also equated that to how it kind of like pervaded the culture itself and how everybody sort of kind of got in on it because it came out of nowhere. And there was one guy that was, I think, part of the Rolling 60s that talked about when there was a certain time when it was like all you could do, the most you could get your hands on was a 38. And then he said all of a sudden, like cats had Uzis and stuff like that. And I'm like, where do we think that came from? If there's a time when the most you could get your hands on was a 38, and then all of a sudden there's Uzis, where you think it came from? Think people was 3D printing back then? But that's a whole nother thing. But as far as
watch some Snowfall if you want to watch some Snowfall if you're not clued into what NERDSoul was saying.
Yeah, Snowfall is, even though I've never watched Snowfall, because Snowfall is one of those shows that I ain't going front. I feel like I'm so far behind on it. I'm like, I don't know if I want to start it.
But I just have to binge it, man.
Yeah, it's like I'll be looking at it, I'll be like, man, I'm too far behind now.
Nah, you cannot be too far behind. Just binging, you catch up.
You never
stop watching Black Lightning and start watching Snowfall.
Stop watching Black Lightning.
That's a fact. Stop watching Black Lightning and start watching Snowfall.
I don't know.
Which story?
Black Lightning is in its final season, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be there. I'm just saying it's gonna be there. It ain't going nowhere. It's this final season. It's gonna.
What season is Black Lightning on?
4.
4.
How many episodes a season?
I think this final season has 13.
There's more episodes of Black Lightning than there are Snowfall.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Because it's an FX show. It's only 10 episodes a season.
Swap it out. Yeah. Swap it out.
Season 4 comes on this month.
You should review it on the show. Month. You should do that. Do it for the show.
All right, word. Jenna James said, I tried getting into Snowfall and gave up halfway through the first season.
Maybe you should. I'm insane. Like maybe you should watch it. It might be.
Okay.
But now I've heard good things from my brother, and also my brother-in-law has talked up. But when I saw I was already like 3 seasons behind, I was like, man, I don't know if I can start this. I was like, I don't know if I can start. But you're right. FX only has 10 episodes a season. I might be able to make that work. Because it's not crazy like 24 episodes a season or something. I might be able to make that work. We'll see what's up.
Good.
Plus, Power ain't on no more, so I can, that can be my little.
10 episodes is a sweet spot, man. 10 episode seasons at a sweet spot.
Yeah, word up. I will agree on that.
When your season is longer than that, it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, them Netflix shows were kind of. It was kind of like 10, like whatever
13,
it was,
man.
like 13 or.
Them 13 episodes.
22, whatever they did on Netflix. It was like too long. I think they were just. Like the story could have been told in 10.
Yeah, 13, man. 13 mess you up.
But then certain shows like Ozark is like that. Like Ozark's 10 episodes a season. It's just like perfect.
Yeah, Ozark, don't sleep on that. Ozark is pretty dope. But
amazing.
Who did y'all want to get into next?
Well, Big U.
And matter of fact,
Since
I'll
I'm
let
kind
y'all
of in
start.
the area right now. Since I'm kind of in the area, you know.
Yeah. So I'll let you go. I'll let you go on the Big U stuff. I know, you know. I've got my takes.
Like just what about him? Like his
Like, you know,
story.
like his story. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like what jumped out to you on the story.
Boy, to him is just like, man, he did a lot of fighting, man. Like beating people up, like going to the roller skating rink and beating people up. Like that's what I get like from back then, and like how you have that rep of like being the guy, and you just keep upping the ante and keep like, you know, I guess taking that risk, you know, of like, oh, I'm going to get you before you get me, you know, kind of situation where it's an interesting way to like, you know, going about life in that kind of way. But like, you know, you can't keep that up forever. You know, you can't just like be 50 years old beating people in the head and stuff like that. Like you gotta like
well, yeah,
find
you're
another
right.
avenue, you know.
Father Time will get you on that end too. You know what I'm saying? You can't be running the streets forever. You know what I'm saying? You can't be you can't be a stick-up kid at like 60. Like this.
Yeah, it was good.
It would be weird to see.
It was good to
give me
see
anything
like
you got. Be like, dude, ain't you like 60? You all right?
It was good to see like the background of like where the area he came from and like how the rolling 60s, like how it grew and like to what neighborhoods. And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of close to that, like Crenshaw right there, and like I'm close to these areas, and I've went through these areas too. I'm like know them, you know, fairly well, whatever. And to see like what it is now and like what it was back then and like everything like evolving and changing and like even like the gang culture changing and becoming more like, you know, worldwide or like at least American, you know, wide and going to different parts of the country, like basing off of LA and stuff like that. That's cool to see. And it's like how the hustling and the stuff that he was doing just basically made sense for what hip hop, I guess, kind of needed to get like it off the, you know, get it, you know, legs behind it or whatever, like to kind of push through the door. Because you needed people like these people, I think, to push through that door. Because I feel like that's what gave it the respect. It gave it the respect because these people also had money to fund the hip hop and get it to an advanced level of like they're creating it in the studios now. They're no longer in the house, and the music itself sonically gets, you know, sounds better, you know, in the way we're like, oh, I want that, and everyone says, I want to be that. I want to wear those jackets. I want to be those people, you know. And then so I like that evolution. I just like how that evolved, and these people are the other pioneers that people don't talk about, you know, like because, you know, they're tight-lipped, of course, because they've been through a lot.
For good reason. Yeah,
they've been through a lot.
Anwar, anything to add on that?
Oh man, I think he laid it out pretty well. You know, a very influential figure, which is like kind of strange considering his background. You know, like to rise to, it's pretty inspirational, man. You know, to rise from that era and to become sort of this go-to person for a lot of people, both newer and older artists. This sort of, you know, liaison and this sort of touch point for a lot of people. And so yeah, pretty cool story.
Yeah, and I really dug I guess like the walkthrough that we got, because he laid out something like, yo, we was out. Homie was like, we was out practicing karate in the front yard. You know what I'm saying? It was like I was like, yo, y'all was doing like straight trainings and stuff in the front yard, and it was just normal. Like, yo, we fought at the skating rink, and that's what we did. And then they talked about I believe it was the Houdini and Run DMC show that kind of like the tipping point where it was like, oh, I think Big U's the one that said like the hip hop concerts now became the place where like we went to kind of like, I guess, show force. You know, like these became like the events that we went to, and I mean, I guess for good or I guess for better for worse, because then you have this situation, because I remember being in certain situations like this, you know, when I was like in my teens and stuff. You go to a show or an event, and you go because you're like, yo, I love this music or whatever, this is gonna be fun. And then, you know, you have a whole other group of people that's there to, you know, they there to wreck shop. And it's like they always mess it up for everybody. But back to what Arcatron was saying, without those people, you don't get that like that sort of next level. I don't know if the word is engagement. You know what I'm saying? You don't get like that next level notoriety, like, oh, this is real, it's serious, it's you know, is very like a very street edge to it. So it's like more than just like, oh, people that love the music, like, oh, you can go here, you might get messed up, kind of thing. And it's like, yo, beware, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. So it's like it brought the street cred to it. And one thing I did think was funny was I think Bimmy was talking about being at the show. I think it was in Long Beach, being at the show, and I think the Crips were fighting someone else or something, and they were like, "Yo, we got to get out of here. You know, the Crips is here." And he was like, when he heard Crips, because of course, you know, being from different cities, you don't know the internal politics of that city. You're just there. So he was like, when he heard it, he was like, "Do you mean like crippled people? Like, are there like crippled people out there, people up or whatever?" And like that joke was just, I mean, I know he didn't mean it as a diss, but then in my mind, I imagined like people that were, you know, maybe like, you know, mobility challenged, like just out there like whooping up on everybody. It was kind of funny to me. I ain't going front. I busted out laughing because I could just imagine, you know, a lot of people that, you know, mobility challenged, but just out there just like wilding. But we get stories from like Snoop that was there. Dre talks about that time as well. And they said, you know, they talk about how that was kind of like one of those things that kind of like pushed it over the edge, that was like, oh, okay, this is like a thing now. This is real now. And rest in peace to Nipsey, because they do have him for like a quick second where this guy's like filming him, and he was like, "Yo, man, you don't put no camera in my face." And yo, man, you kind of gotta. You can't just be rushing up on everybody. And like I understand because the guy who was probably, I guess, on TMZ or something like that, you know, he's like, "You're a celebrity." He's like, huh?
It was something like that. I've seen that clip.
Yeah, and see, I've never seen that clip before.
Yeah, he's getting out of his car and dude's like up on him with a camera. Yeah, he starts to film that guy and like invade his personal space, and then the guy low-key feels a way about it, and he's like, "Yeah, but you're a celebrity." And he's like, "I'm a rolling 60
like,
first.
You gotta, dude, this ain't, you gotta take this a couple miles that way into the hills. Like, we don't do that down here."
With Nip, it wasn't even that. It was the respect issue, like the common courtesy. You know, it was like, "Yo, you coming up and filming me and running up on me as a stranger."
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you're running up on me and invading my personal space and shoving a camera in my face, and it's not cool. And he's like, "Yeah, but you're a celebrity." It's like, yeah, it doesn't
like,
matter.
Nah, but I'm still a human being. And like, you gotta, because that dude forgot, like, this is something, like, you know, you get away with this, you know, in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, or, you know, when people be coming out of LAX, people are kind of, you know.
I feel they shouldn't get away with it, man.
Oh, no, I don't think they should, but they do. But like here,
we gotta do something. We need like anti-paparazzi, man.
Yeah, this
I'm
the
for
Hollywood
the
Hills.
anti-paparazzi bill.
Yeah, this ain't the Hollywood
like,
Hills.
We need to see people eating at a restaurant. We need to see people like back up. Let me be.
Like, yo, man, back up, man, back. And it's like, well,
I say that because I say that because Khadijah just was watching the Britney Spears, like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Free Britney Spears documentary, basically. What was it, Free Britney? I forgot what it's called, but and it's like
I haven't seen it, but I've heard people talking about
crazy. Like people, the lengths that people will go just to get a picture of you,
Yeah,
like,
and it's
or
like,
a video of you doing something crazy. You know,
Yeah,
to have you looking crazy. You know what I mean? And there, it's just like, man, get a new job, man. I don't know. I'm just not with that. And anybody, and any paparazzi, anybody coming up on me, running up on me, and you, no. Anybody, like fans, paparazzi, that running up on people, recording them, and I'm with Nipsey on that whole energy right there.
And I've been approached twice out here, like on some NERDSoul stuff, which is cool, but it was never like, here's the camera, like, what are you doing? It was just like, it's like, oh, yo, you know what I'm saying? I like the show. Yo, keep doing your thing. And it was just like, oh, word, you know what I'm saying? Thanks, you know, thanks for the love. And that was kind of it. It wasn't a situation where it's like, let's look at your life. What are you doing now? And it's just like, nah, man, it's not the thing. But at least he was courteous. He let him know. He was like, look, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Please escort yourself. He was as courteous as he could be. Because I've been in a situation, well, not like that, but I've been in a situation where I was in Chicago and I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know about the street politics, but a young man let me know.
You ran up on somebody?
No, I didn't run up on somebody. Okay. I was in a store and I came out of the store and I had a hat on. And I can't remember what hat I had on. I can't remember. Some hat, because I used to have like tons of fitted hats. But I had on some hat. It was I come out the store and there's a guy and there's like 10 other dudes. And they're like just standing there. And like, so I give the customary like head up and homie's like the customary. But dude said, look, I know you ain't from around here, but I need you to take your hat off. And I said, understood, and I took my hat off. I said, understood. I was like,
hat off.
Yes, sir.
You can tell by how you were strolling with it that you weren't from here.
You ain't from around here.
You must not be from here.
He was like, because you came out and gave me a head up, so I know you ain't from around here.
Wait, you said you was in Chicago?
Yeah, this is
custom. I need you to take the hat off.
You had no like Cubs or like White Sox hat on, did you?
Nah, it was, I can't remember what ad it was, but this is 02, 01, 02, something like that, maybe 03, something like that, somewhere in that area. But when he said, I was like, understood. I apologize. Oh, and I had my hat to the back too. So it might have been, maybe it was backwards. I don't know. But I ain't ask. I ain't need to know. All I needed to know was, take it off. Because it was just a dude there with 10 guys. So I see him, I was like, hold up, man. Like, you know, I don't know. It's just dude's there.
It could have went a lot different. Some cats a lot less merciful. Even though they know that you ain't from there, they still, some cats will still press you in
somebody could have been like, what's his name from Don't Be a Menace? Not Don't Be a Menace. Yeah, Menace aside, Don't Be a Menace. Menace is like just wilding out, just like he you know what I mean?
Yeah, because that could have been. So that was merciful. That's why I was like, yo, thank you. I was like, understood. Boom, took it off immediately. I was like, yes, sir. I'm like, yo, because I could have walked out for a beat down and been like, I don't know what happened. They'd be like, hey, what you get beat down for? I don't know. All I did is buy like a Slurpee. I don't know. I went to the store.
That has happened on many occasions where people get not beat up and they didn't know what happened. So you were fortunate to be told to take it off and keep it moving, keep it pushing.
Yo,
or got the ability to keep it pushing. You were able to walk away from it.
Yes. Dude said, I know you ain't from around here, but I need you to take your hat off. That was it. And I was like, understood.
Say less.
So I took that joint off quick. So I was blessed by the street gods that day. You know what I'm saying? But I want to get into Trick story real quick. Trick is someone, when I first heard his name, I heard it through music, so I'm thinking he's just a music guy. I was wrong.
Little did he know.
I thought he was a rapper, but well, I mean, he's a rapper too.
He is a music artist.
He's a handful of things, yes.
But
yeah, among numerous things.
Yeah, but he's also someone who has a bit of power in Detroit, if I may say so myself. Homie said Rick Ross is trying to perform here, but we said no. And
posted up with the squad outside the venue and would not let them come in to perform.
That's
funny.
And it didn't seem like nobody was mad about it either. Like, he was telling people that were inside that apparently had already paid to see some Rick Ross. Like, they bought a Rick Ross ticket. I assumed that it wasn't a free show. And nobody seemed to be angry about it. They were like, yeah. And I'm like, hold up, but didn't y'all pay to see Rick Ross though?
I think people understood.
Oh, they were like, well, I guess I'll just take it up with Ticketmaster. But Mr. Trick, sir, I paid to see Rick Ross. People like, you better.
So wait, what do you know the backstory on that? I remember hearing about it, but I forgot what transpired. Like, did Rick Ross? He didn't reach out to him, or like, what was that all about? Yeah, you remember the story? Anybody?
They didn't get into it in the documentary. I don't remember why he stopped his performance. Probably some sort of disrespect somewhere, or perceived disrespect of some sort somewhere.
Yeah, probably something like that. Because Rick Ross does come off as a disrespectful guy.
Oh, it wasn't around the time when he was having the beef with 50, was it? Or anything like that? Like, not 50, because it's 50M. That's like kind of a weird end. Not a weird end, but like, one was signed to another, and Detroit has definitely helped 50 out in some kind of way. You think it's something like that?
I don't know. No, I feel like it was something that was more direct between them, or something that he's maybe said about Detroit or something. I don't know.
Oh,
All right, let's see. Ross was scheduled to play the Summer Jams concert.
I'm looking at it right now.
Detroit radio station Hot 107 through at Shanae Park Amphitheater. But when Ross tried to enter the venue, a group of people reportedly led by Trick refused to let him enter. He never made it inside. So they don't say what started it though.
Trick is inside. It was his side of the story.
I do see something that says Trick insists that the opposition to Rick Ross's performance was nonviolent. So I guess that's a good thing. Nonviolent. Just letting y'all know it was nonviolent. Shouts to Jenna James. You know what? I don't know if we're going to recap that or not. I have no idea. We'll see.
Yeah, have you seen it? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
All three of us have seen it.
Oh, we have?
What?
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
So, you know what? We might drop some quick thoughts on it after this. After this, we might drop some quick thoughts. But
I got a thought.
Man, Trick, he definitely seemed to me to exude that energy of like, if you come to a city, you need to check in. Like, he definitely exuded that energy. Now, my response or question is like, when you do stuff like this, like, how do you know who to check in with? And not saying as not trying to be funny, like being serious. Like, say like, all right, ARCKATRON's an artist. I'm your manager. I'm calling around to venues and promoters. I don't know the politics of Phoenix. Say we're going to start here and we're going to go the south route. So we're going to go from here to Phoenix to Houston to Dallas to, I don't know, maybe Baton Rouge to New Orleans to maybe Jacksonville and then Orlando and Miami and then circle and come back. South throughout
I'm
the country.
with HighSign. It's a street thing. It's
Oh,
beyond just like the venues and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's a
Wouldn't
street.
But I
happen
mean,
to you
how
'cause
would I
it
even
wouldn't-
know? Like,
it
you know what I'm saying?
wouldn't
How
happen-
you better
you
know.
wouldn't know. It wouldn't happen to you because you're not a street guy.
Well, yeah, that's true. Because
Since we're not
Arcatron's
street
not
guys,
making that
we would
music.
just
Yeah.
come to Detroit and perform, and
Yeah.
it would be cool.
Yeah, because I forgot.
when
Because
you-
Arcatron's not making the type of music to where you would have to check in. Like,
Well,
you
no,
would have-
I'm not a street guy. That's not even
Yeah,
my music.
yeah.
I
Like I said,
myself
you're not
personally
you're
am
not
a street
making
guy.
music that's like, yo, I'm gonna shoot everybody. And you better lay down. Because when I come on your street, I don't know, I'm gonna lay you down. I don't know, man. Look, whatever.
You
all right?
got to work on your street raps. Bro.
I gotta get
Yeah,
my
you
street
gotta
rap.
work on. You listen to enough street music. What's your street raps at, man?
I don't know, man. Look, I just know you wash your face with the Mac and smoke them like steakums. All right, that's all I know.
Okay.
so, but you're not saying, if you're just like rapping like about regular everyday stuff, people ain't, they just be like, all right, cool, you good. You know what I'm saying? I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you ain't killing people in your raps, then you're okay. Or I guess if you ain't, if you're not killing people in your raps, or cooking coke in your raps, then you're gonna be all right. But once you start cooking coke and stuff, you might want to check in. I want to be like, hey man, look, I sell a lot of crack in my rhymes, so want to know if it was okay if I came to your city on this date and time. But he, and Jenna James says, has a very Jay Prince energy. Yeah, he definitely exudes that energy. Like, yo, look, Detroit is kind of mine, and you roll through, and we ain't playing. And Jenna James says they do it in frats too, or at least in my brother's frats, Omega Psi Phi. You got to check in the city, school, fraternities. You're visiting. Otherwise, it ain't gonna be good if you or somebody if somebody find out. Dang, really? Man,
Rats. Damn,
Rat?
they run the streets like
gonna
that.
beat you down in the frat. Maybe that paddle. Remember on school days, you know what I'm saying? The bald headed dudes. Maybe they hit you with the paddle if you don't. I don't know, man. You know, I don't know.
Well, I want another one of my blind spots. But yeah, school days.
Oh, man. Come on, man.
It's
That's
on the
a fun-
list.
That's a good one.
It's on the list. It's
All
on my
right, cool.
list.
It's on the
been
list.
for
All
a
right.
while.
It's on the list. I wanted to talk about Deb real quick. She said there was like 25 kids in the house, or 25 people in the house. That's a lot of people in the house. Like, that's why, yo, at that time, people was hurting, yo. At that time, I mean, even now, but it's just like crazy seeing like what some of these people were going through. Like 25 people in one house, and it's not like their house was a mansion. It wasn't like, oh, it was 25 of us in a 25 bedroom house. You know what I'm saying? And to hear her story of being, I think she said 9 when she started running with her dad. You know what I'm saying? That just goes to show like being in a situation where you don't really feel like you have any hope. Because 9, and you running the streets at 9. And she said her uncle came and was like, yo, your dad's dead. He ain't like, and you in and out the street. And they said she was running things though. She was, running in and out different circles, and she was able to like maneuver and rise. But coming from a situation where you have like 25 people in the house, you've been running the streets since you was like 9 years old. This one is crazy. Just to imagine how much, stress that puts on someone. And then she even talked about, I think the craziest thing about her story is she talked about like there was a shootout or something, and she thought like somebody that I guess was down with her or whatever was going to be with her trying to help her out, and dude used her as a human shield. So that,
Her life is pretty bugged out.
yo, that joint is crazy. Like her story was just crazy to me. And you know what I mean? I'm glad that she's kind of like grown and come out of that, but it's just, you know, it's a shame she even had to go through like 25 people. Now, I've been in a full house before. Well, not full house, but I mean, I've been in a full I've been in a full house before. You know what I'm saying? Like couple cousins, grandma there, but 25, that's a whole nother level. Like that's rough. And I think Bimmy was the one that was talking about being in a house. I think he said he had like 3 sisters or something. And he was talking about how he had to wear his sister's jeans. And he had to wear
dove on it with a dove on it.
Yeah, he said he had to wear a long shirt to cover the dove up. And I'm just like, yo, not the Gloria Vanderbilt though. Like, but you know, it was rough for him. And speaking of like the kind of like the era they came up in, they also showed the food assistance program at the time that Reagan was so good at handling. But dude was holding up that government cheese, and it's been so long since I've seen a picture of that. But I mean, it was literally like a brick of cheese. Like they gave you like, it was like a cinder block of cheese that they just was like, here. And they even say, he was like, yo, we ain't supposed to be eating Spam. Like and powdered eggs and stuff. Like we ain't supposed to be eating that mess. But like, you know, of course, that's what they gave out, and that's what people had to eat, or you know, or try to eat or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that was, man, it was just crazy seeing that again, because the way it was, even the way it was processed and being shown and like, I guess marketed to America was like, look at these great things we're doing for these people. Like you have Reagan holding up like a brick of cheese, like proud of himself for this. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like, come on. Like come on, man. Like everyone that I know that has received that brick of cheese was like, none of them said that they believe it was really cheese. Like they were like, it don't act like cheese. Like it don't melt like cheese. Like cheese is supposed to melt. It gets hot, it like, you know, it melts. And they were like, my father-in-law would say, my stepdad would say, yo, it didn't melt. The cheese would just sweat. It was just like you put it on the stove, or you put it on like grilled cheese or whatever, and it would just sweat. It would get like water would come out of the cheese, or like condensation, but no, it wouldn't melt. Like you take like I'm gonna get some, like I don't know, you buy a pizza and the cheese is melted. That stuff don't do that. And like everyone else, yeah, everyone else I knew would be like, nah, that was not real food they were giving us. And even I think Bimmy talks about like, yo, this ain't good for people. You can't give this to people. And it's like, oh yes you can if you're poor. Oh yes you can. Like, oh, we're gonna give this to you and only you. Like you would look, if there was ever a situation where the people of Beverly Hills needed food, they would not be getting that brick of cheese. Like they would have never got that. But yeah, all in all, I dig this. I like the stories about being with Run DMC. How like I think DMC liked Bimmy's younger sister or something like that, and how he went on tour with them. How he saw like the response that they got was more love than fear, and I like how they kind of intertwined sort of government's involvement, the streets involvement, people coming back from Vietnam, stuff like that. I really enjoyed it. Even you know, like the smaller stories where they talked about like just like, you know, practicing karate in the front yard. Like I thought that was well done. And for a documentary that I was highly skeptical on at first, now I'm hyped and I want to see more.
Where'd you hear about it? Because I watch Hulu, you know, pretty much every day in some capacity, and that didn't pass. Yeah,
I saw it on. I was like going to Hulu. I was looking for something else, and I saw it come up as like a recommended or whatever. Now I was like, another hip hop documentary. I don't know. And now I'm on board, man. This is dope. I love these stories. I like how they help add to the conversation of that's going on, like with hip hop evolution and stuff. I think this is dope. I really dig this. Seeing, you know, like Ice-T talk about how, like, yo, I didn't particularly claim a particular hood because I was kind of always bouncing around, so I just claimed the West Coast. Or seeing once again, and I've said this many times, seeing once again how they referenced The Message, which I think is a song that should not be relevant today, but it is. In a country that's supposed to be so great, The Message should not be relevant today at all. not even partly relevant. But it also goes to show, at least in that song, homie was a prophet. Because and even they say, even I think Ice-T was talking about it. He was like, he wasn't even talking about he was talking about like everywhere. Like this is going on, you know, everywhere. And due to the fact that the way the government and I guess under the use of white supremacy is set up in general, many black people in inner cities experienced a similar situation, which is why The Message was able to ring true to so many black people, especially in the inner city, because the situations and the circumstances they were going through were so similar because of the system that they were under. So yeah, man, they played some of the lyrics and I was just listening. It's true. It's like one of the main things is like, you know, I saw a meme, or Lisa showed me a meme today, and the meme says something. It said, the bank won't give me a loan for a $950 mortgage, so I guess I'll go back to paying $1,400 a month for rent. And then you just think about Melly Mel. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise, got no money to move out. I guess I got no choice. And it's true. People ain't got, you don't have the credit score to move out. You might have the money, you might be able to pay the mortgage actually. You'd be like, yo, I've actually been paying more than this mortgage for the last 5-6 years in my apartment, if not more, you know, whatever. But you can't get that credit score because we've made sure that we've messed up the credit game, so that you got to have an accountant to get that joint straight. Or even if your credit is bad or good, you ain't got the generational wealth to be able to get your hands on the loan or a cosigner if you wanted to. So it's just this funny, weird game where it's like a lot of people are trapped in this. Because I mean, the song just illustrates like this rat race that a lot of people, in some way, shape, or form, that are at least working class or lower, are stuck in. You know what I'm saying? And it's just it's sad. But this documentary, I recommend it. It's dope. This joint is on point.
You know how many episodes it's gonna be? Or just
I don't know.
Or how they're releasing it?
Yeah, I looked up to see like when the next episode, but they didn't say when it was airing next. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll wait and see until something comes up on Hulu again. But yeah, it's Zia said, oh, come on, man. What? Zia says, ain't Ice-T's ex-girl Darlene OG Ortiz still on that 5150 podcast? Man, I don't know, man. I don't care about no 5150 podcast, man. I ain't getting into that because I know it's a whole bunch of drama with that.
What is that? I don't know.
I'm looking at it now, the schedule. Looks like they're doing like 2 every Friday. So there'll be 2 more this Friday and 2 more next Friday.
I word. So we'll holler at y'all next week. And then of course PL will be here next week too. So that'll be dope. You know what I'm saying? Get y'all some more of that street knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Some more of that word on the street.
Where you come to get that.
Huh?
This is definitely where you come to get that.
Oh man.
Experts.
This is where you come to get that street knowledge.
Yeah, man. We're professors.
This is where you come to get someone who has the knowledge enough to know from either friends or family members to be like, stay out of that. Stay out of that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. I know people I went to school with that unfortunately I couldn't reach them how I wanted to. They still doing time right now. And this is like right after high school. I'm 38. They still in now. That's where they at. That's their address. That's where they at right now. So I know enough to be like, leave that stuff alone. Because like my mom said, once they get their hands on you, ain't nothing I can do to help you. It's
they
true.
do not like to let go.
Nah. Once they get their hands on you, I mean, unless you got money, and sometimes when you got money, ain't nothing you can do.
You got money. Yeah, real.
Sometimes when you got money, then that's it. So all I can say is leave that stuff alone. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or from some family members, you get out and it seems like everybody trying to do their best to put you back in. So the street knowledge I can tell you is leave it alone.
Stay on your pivot.
Yeah, leave it alone. I know it ain't easy, but leave it alone. And if you do mess with it, just remember I told you leave it alone. But with that said, I'm gonna shout out everybody in the chat. ZSB Lou, Jenna James, Yamani in the house, and I think we have Markeith. Oh no, I saw Markeith in another chat earlier today. So going from the bottom, all right, starting from the bottom, gold medalist, Anwar HighSign.
I am one with the people. That's it. That's all I got to say. Man.
That's all I got to say.
Well, his links are below. Grab some music. Go listen to some streams. Share it to everybody. Why are you being stingy? All right? And then right over here, you know him, famous author, ARCKATRON.
Yeah.
Right. Of erotic tales.
Famous author of ARCKATRON.com. Also, you can find me at Instagram. You can find me at Instagram. I'm back on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. All those things. You can find me at ARCKATRON. That's ARCKATRON. And yeah, and NERDSoul. Where can they find you?
I see you dropped a cool trailer today.
Arcka. Oh yeah.
Oh, he did?
I did. Where you
drop that link in the chat. Drop that link in the chat. I ain't seen no trailer today.
Okay, I'll drop it in the chat.
Drop that link in the chat so we can see that trailer.
Featuring Arcka and his lady, the lovely Dejanum.
Word? Look.
Yeah, we're working on it's called The Intersection, and she's the creative director, and she's running.
Come on, man.
Man, but wait, you ain't on Instagram,
so we can put this on, so we can put it on the show.
Sir, you're not on Instagram. I believe you're on Instagram, sir. I ain't. Maybe you ain't found me. Maybe you ain't.
You have to send it to me.
Listen,
I'm gonna send it to you.
Listen, I work.
I'll send it to you, sir.
Yo, I could have put it on the show at the beginning.
We got more shows. It ain't over.
I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying, so I could promote. You know what I'm saying? Let the dollar circulate.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying? We got more, man. Don't worry. You don't. There's no FOMO here. You're not missing out on nothing. You know what I mean? It's just the beginning.
Y'all though. I'm gonna show y'all the promo on Black Together when we do it either tonight or tomorrow, something like that. So you know.
Okay. Well, even then I'll just send you the video if you want to just do it that way.
You know what I'm saying? Send me the video and put the link in. We'll do that. But until then, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all them places. Hit that thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. And I see some people in the thumbs up, so thank you. And hit that thumbs down if you don't like it, but you hit that thumbs down. You know what? I'm going to send somebody who wasn't on this documentary after you. And they probably still mean. It's Suge Knight. All right? Suge Knight mean.
Nah, that's what we're gonna do. If somebody gives a thumbs down, gonna round all of y'all up. All right. Now listen, I know one of y'all gave some thumbs downs. I'm not tripping.
I'm not
Just
tripping.
change it to a thumbs up by the morning. If you don't, shoot no.
Plaka.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about getting some new items. The same.
Some new items.
Items.
You about to expand the inventory?
You know the algorithm be working. You can't see the. You
about
can't
to
see the real
expand my
thing,
wardrobe on y'all.
You know what I'm saying? Some new items. You know what I'm saying? Just
actionable items.
Actionable
items.
These are
actionable items. So
new actionable items, man. Just change it to a thumbs up, man. That's all.
What Jay was talking about, right?
It. You know what I'm saying? You press this button.
This is the real actionable item, man. Just change it to a thumbs up, please.
You know what I'm saying? Plaka. You know what I'm saying? I've been researching, you know what I'm saying? Got laser pointers. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, laser pointers. You gotta teach.
Laser pointers.
Just in
not
case you
playing with a cat.
Or you got a
laser
cat,
pointers,
laser pointer.
I'm not in class.
So, you know, plaka. You know what I'm saying?
NERDSoul the equalizer.
Yo, that would be sweet. Oh, shouts to Queen Latifah. You know I love Queen Latifah. She's doing her thing on Equalizer. You know what I'm saying?
I hear it's good. I haven't caught it yet. But
and she had Busta Rhymes join on there. So I was like,
really?
she had when she was hitting the punching bag, she was playing Czar. So I was like,
wow.
Oh, snap.
Remix or OG?
OG. I don't think it
matter.
I mean, I would like to hear MOP
playing Czar on ABC or CBS.
Yeah, that's true. Or CBS. But yeah, come on, man. Busta Rhymes, Queen Latifah on the same show, sort of. Man,
with it.
Sweet.
I want to see Queen Latifah beat people to death. I'm here for it.
Yeah. So, podcast if you want to listen, Spotify for that music. We got some jams. Don't sleep. ARCKATRON After All This, or if you would like to say ARC Father Part 3. But until next time, it's us, you just saying thanks for watching.
And everybody, I put it in the chat.
Check the link in the chat. Go and click that link.
Yeah. Check the chat.
Then we'll
hit all the links in the description. Hit all the links in the chat.
We're going to have you next time. So we'll holler at y'all next time.
Yeah.
Peace. Y'all be good.
For you.